Hi, welcome to the conservatory again. What are we here to talk about today? We are here to talk about this thing. Let's see if we can get it to focus on this. Not me, focus on that. And this is the Element Optics Helix. This is a 6x24x50 second focal plane scope with a non-illuminated reticle. And it is the budget scope in the Element Optics line. They have three different types of scope, and yeah, this is the budget. The Helix is the budget one. What do you get in the box with the Helix? First off, you get an instruction manual. Get your instruction manual, sticker, rubberized scope covers. And in this one it's come with its zero stop, I don't know what you call it, the adjuster drop-in, we'll call it the zero stop drop-in, which I'll explain a little bit more about later. This is a second-hand scope. It's somebody else has previously owned it, and he's added flip-up scope covers. So yeah, this is once again on loan to me from Leicestershire Airguns. I originally had it for testing the AEGT Vixen, and I was shooting that out to about 50 yards with this, 30 to 50 yards. I zeroed at 35 yards, and I was shooting between 30 and 50. And I found this absolutely superb for that. So let's talk about the actual scope and the manufacturer. It's a solid, heavy alloy tube. It has got some of the best clicky turrets I have ever come across. Let's see if we can get this on camera. I mean, yeah, the mechanism inside there, I believe, I understand on the first focal plane version, it's actually, they've got steel gearing. I can only assume, judging by the feel of this, it's steel as well. Whatever it is, it's superb, and it really smacks of longevity. You know, you're going to be able to hopefully you'll be able to use this scope for a long period of time without the mechanism wearing, because I think the major usage of this scope is for dialing. The reticle, which I'll put up there somewhere, is superb. It's really usable, and this particular one is in MOA. It's a MOA reticle because the turrets are in MOA. Yeah, so you can use the reticle for holdover. You don't have to dial your shots, but I do think, you know, the strength of this comes in terms of its ability to hold zero and dial. I did a box test with this, so it's basically fire a pellet, 35 clicks to the right, fire a pellet, 35 clicks down, fire a pellet, 35 clicks to the left, fire a pellet, 35 clicks back up, fire a pellet. And the idea being is that last pellet that you shoot, you know, when you've returned it in theoretically back to zero, that last pellet you shoot should be basically bang on your original pellet, you know, obviously providing you do your part, and you should have a nice square effectively with all the pellets. That way you know that the turret mechanism tracks really well. It does exactly what it should do, and there's no lag or slippage within the turret mechanism, which means you can then, you know, you should then be secure in the knowledge that when you're dialing for different ranges or for windage using whatever app you decide to use or your own exceptionally good mental arithmetic, you should be confident in your ability to be able to get a consistent result and then return back to your original zero. And that's where the zero stop comes in. This particular scope has got what they call NonTool resettable turrets or something like that. Basically, you don't need a tool to change or reset the zero on your turrets. All you do is unscrew the top cap and you lift the turret up, and then you set it to your 0 point. There we go, and then push it back on, and can we see that? And then yes, you've got that effectively set where your 0 would be. The 0 stop mechanism drops in to here, and basically it gives you, when you set your 0, you drop that in onto your 0 point, and it allows you to basically rapidly dial backwards and forwards, and it should stop back where your 0 is. Now, if you're interested in that, please go and watch Matt Dubber's video on how to set it up, because I haven't messed around with it. You know, I've literally, once again, I've had this on loan, and it's not something I've decided to explore in terms of how easy it is to do that. As I say, Matt Dubber, the guy that is basically responsible for this, has got a great video online showing exactly how to use it and what it does. So, from the turrets we come into the zoom ring, and once again, smacks of amazing engineering. Oops, I'll pick that up in a minute. That's the bolt from the mount. It's super smooth, this zoom ring, and it's got a natty little throw lever on the top. Into the glass on the scope, you know, if there's one thing I'm going to say about this scope, I mean, the turrets really, you know, they didn't surprise me. They were exactly what you wanted for the price point in terms of, you know, how clicky they were and the confidence in terms of the gearing and the material that goes into the gearing they gave you. But the thing that really surprised me, and the thing that really stood out with this scope, was the optical quality of the glass. The image I got through this was without doubt better than any of my Hawk scopes. And okay, admittedly, I don't have any of the really high-end Hawk stuff. You know, I've got a 300, 400 quid Sidewinder, and I've got a couple of NTC scopes, and I've got an Optizan. And the Optizan was probably the best scope I owned for optical clarity. I think this beats it, and in its second focal plane version, the price point on this, it's possibly slightly cheaper than, well, it's cheaper than my EVX was retailing at originally. Yeah, this is in the £350 price bracket. I think you can probably, if you shop around, you'll be able to get it for lower. And for that sort of money, the optical quality and the general overall workmanship that's got into this scope is superb. I think the only thing now, I'm going to get onto the one thing I have an issue with, and that is the parallax ring. Now the parallax wheel. Now these are quite pointy, and the wheel itself, I mean, maybe with use it will loosen up, but it is, you know, pretty damn stiff. Therefore, it's actually quite an uncomfortable. It's quite an uncomfortable wheel to manipulate with cold hands and no gloves. I think it's the only thing I think, yeah, as I say, the only thing I think is a shame is that they didn't provide a wheel for the side of this, especially as I think at 24 times zoom, this is good enough to, just about good enough to use for range finding, and to have that extra wheel to be able to manage that movement a little bit more minutely and put the range indentations on. I think if you'd had that wheel, it would have been nicer to manipulate the parallax wheel, and also it would allow you to do some range finding as well. And basically, that's the only criticism I've got for this. Personally, for me, I would like to have had a slightly wider field of view, especially at 6 times for close range target acquisition. But as I think the main use for this particular scope is going to be shooting sort of medium to long range, you know, this really came alive when I was pushing past sort of 30 odd yards. 30 to 50 yards that I was shooting with the Vixen was superb. If I was, I would definitely think about putting this scope on top of my 457, my CZ 457 in 17 HMR, because I shoot that rifle 100 to 200 yards, and I think that that is where this scope would really shine. For airgun usage, for HFT and FT work, would be brilliant, absolutely fantastic. For hunting, sort of 30 yards plus, superb. For shorter range work, yeah, probably necessarily. I think you would be better off with a lower powered scope with a slightly wider field of view. So there we go. There's another slight criticism there. But anyway, that's the Element Optics Helix. I hope this has been of interest to you. This is going back to Leicestershire Airguns now to sit on their second-hand shelf. So once again, thanks to Phil and Tracy for the loan of this. Yeah, and thank you all for watching. I'm going to go and try and blag some more rifles off them now, and see if I can make a few more videos over the next couple of weeks. So until the next video, thank you very much for watching, and stay safe.